It's the 4th of July. That means hot dogs, hamburgers, fireworks, and obesity. Time to do an American episode. What could be more American in the Pokemon world than the Unova region? It's no secret that the Unova region is based off the New York/New Jersey area, but there's actually more to it than meets the eye. So today, we'll be taking a look at not only the New York-inspired stuff, but also the stuff inspired by America as a whole in the Unova region. Let's get started. Let's start with the most obvious. Castelia City is obviously inspired by Lower Manhattan, and the Entralink is clearly inspired by Central Park. The Sky Arrow Bridge seems to be the equivalent of the Brooklyn Bridge near Lower Manhattan. The Unova League is in a location that, when aligned with an actual map of the area, comes very close to Yankee Stadium, so perhaps there was some sort of competitive inspiration there. Humalao City from Black 2 and White 2 is based on Long Island because of all the beaches and vacation spots, which if you look at Humalao, you'd see why that makes sense. Nimbasa City is based off of Midtown Manhattan, which is obvious in all of its attractions, comparing itself to real-life locations such as Rockefeller Center or Times Square. There are a lot more obvious locations here, but there are other locations that are a bit more ambiguous. For example, many fans have theorized that Route 4 is a desert because it was supposed to reference the 9/11 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. However, the World Trade Center is in Lower Manhattan, so that doesn't make much sense. It's likely that the developers just put this desert here for geographic diversity, so people might just be overthinking it. The Pokemon World Tournament is also a bit odd considering it doesn't seem to have any parallels. Since the Pokemon League is supposed to be where Yankee Stadium is, I guess that the Pokemon World Tournament might be Citi Field, but Citi Field is actually to the east in what is real-life Queens, so it was difficult to find a parallel. However, I found one, and it seems that the Pokemon World Tournament is the equivalent of Roosevelt Stadium in Southern Union City, which is the inspiration for Driftvale. I think these two locations parallel each other because, while first intended as an American football stadium, Roosevelt Stadium also ended up housing baseball, soccer, and other sporting events. This is actually perfect because the Pokemon World Tournament is supposed to be this area where trainers from all around the world can compete with diverse styles and teams, which Roosevelt Stadium has been seen doing, but with different sporting events instead of Pokemon. However, not all of Unova's locations are based on New York. For example, Black 2 and White 2's PokeStar Studios is clearly based off of Hollywood in California, which is known for the movie industry. But for a more general American inspiration, we have to look at the Pokemon themselves. Starting with the more obvious, let's look at Braviary. Braviary is literally an all-American eagle, which is obviously symbolic of freedom here in the United States. If we look at Braviary's color scheme, we can see that it looks oddly tribal for an American bird, but Braviary's design is supposed to also be referencing Native American tribes that wore feathers in a similar pattern to Braviary. This is also seen in Sigilyph, who is based on the Thunderbird, a creature from Native American mythology that is thought to have strange powers. I mean, it's also based on the Nazca lines in South America, so perhaps that also played a role in this Pokemon's design. LGM and Behiem also have some very Western inspirations. It's very obvious by looking at them that these two are based on the most common depiction of aliens here in the West, known as the Greys. This all dates back to the 1940s, where the famous Roswell, New Mexico UFO incident occurred. The media exploded with aliens and UFOs everywhere, and the most common depiction being this, which is clearly the basis for LGM and Behiem's designs. It's also worthy of noting that in Generations 5 and 6, the LGM line is able to learn whatever TM51 is. In Gen 5 it was Ally Switch, which makes sense, but in Generation 6, TM55 was Steel Wing, which these two could learn despite not having wings. This is likely a reference to Area 51, which is a United States military base in Nevada that is commonly associated with aliens and UFOs. Perhaps in Generation 7, TM51 will be something really weird for these two to be using. Jellicent is a very odd Pokemon when it comes to design. It's obviously based off of a jellyfish, which are very common in the waters of New York as well as other parts of the world. What makes Jellicent so interesting is that it has different colors depending on its gender. Jellyfish do have genders, but males and females are very similar. The only way to tell a male jellyfish from a female is the color on their reproductive organs, so perhaps that has to do with Jellicent's color change. Electros and its evolution line are based off of eels that are found in the waters of the east coast of North America. However, these eels are not electric eels, as electric eels are only found in the Amazon River. I see why they made it an electric type, but that's what they call scientifically inaccurate. That's about it for Unova though. The Unova region takes inspiration from not only its geographical location, but also Western culture and society as a whole. Not to mention that the Pokemon themselves take inspiration from actual animals and myths from Western mythology. Pokemon puts a lot of effort into their region designs, as every other region is just as inspired and in-depth as Unova. Maybe it's just because I'm an ignorant American, but Unova is a lot more interesting than, say, Kanto or Hoenn. I love how Pokemon uses real-world things in their fictional locations, and considering the Alola region is based on Hawaii, I'm really excited to see how they handle their second American location. That's all for this video. Happy 4th of July to all my American friends out there, and if you're not from the States, then have a good day anyways. See you next time.